Mark from Mind Frontiers, Mark Glenton, NLP.com. Today I'm going to talk to you about, are you a mind reader? Do you know what anybody else is thinking? Often people say, well, he should know or she should know. We've been married for 20 years. Well, he should know. She should know. Well, let me tell you something, guys. It's not true. We're all individuals. No one can read other people's minds. And I've got a couple of little stories I want to read out to you. So I want you to close your eyes and imagine being in this story. And see if you can notice any feelings or thoughts that come up. So the first one I want to read to you is called Murphy's Plough. So McGinty, a farmer, needed to plough his field before the dry spell set in, but his own plough had broken. I know, I'll ask my neighbour, Farmer Murphy, to borrow his plough. He's a good man, and I'm sure he'll have done his ploughing by now, and he'll be glad to lend me his machine. So McGinty began to walk the 3 or 4 fields to Murphy's farm. After a field of walking, McGinty says to himself, I hope that Murphy has finished all his own ploughing, or he'll not be able to lend me his machine. Then, after a few more minutes of worrying and walking, McGinty says to himself, what if Murphy's plough is old and on its last legs? He'll never be wanting to lend it to me, will he? And another field, McGinty says, Murphy was never a very helpful fellow. I reckon maybe he won't even be too keen to lend me his plough, even if it is in perfect working order, and he's finished all his own ploughing weeks ago. As McGinty arrives at Murphy's farm, McGinty is thinking, that old Murphy can be a mean old fellow. I reckon even if he's got all his ploughing done, and his own machine is sitting there doing nothing, he'll not lend it to me just to watch me go to ruin. McGinty walks up to Murphy's front path, and knocks on the door, and Murphy answers, well, good morning, Mr. McGinty. What can I do for you, says Murphy. And McGinty says, with their eyes bulging, you can take your bloody plough and you can stick it up your bloody arse. Well, you know, are these the sort of things that you do with other people? You know full well that this is what they are thinking. Have you asked them? Have you had it fed back to you to know that actually this is what they're thinking? And if they're thinking that, is that making a judgment on you? Are you making a judgment on yourself? So, well, he must or she must be doing this. Are they doing that really? I had once somebody say to me, my parents never loved me. And when we look back, actually, the parent was busy looking after another disabled child. And this other person was very calm and very patient, so didn't get a lot of attention. But when we look back at it, we actually uncovered the fact that actually the sibling was more of a difficult sibling because of the difficulties that they had. So what are you doing? Mind reading. Because it's not good, guys. So I want to tell you another story. This is a positive one, although it might not sound positive. Just go with the flow and listen to the story and see what comes up. Many years ago, in a small Indian village, a farmer had the misfortune of owing a large sum of money to a village moneylender. The moneylender, who was old and cunning, fancied the farmer's beautiful daughter. So he proposed a bargain. He would forgo the farmer's debt if he would marry his daughter. Both the farmer and his daughter were horrified by the proposal. So the cunning moneylender suggested that they let Providence decide the matter. He told them that he would put a black and a white pebble into an empty money bag. Then the girl would have to pick the pebble from one bag. If she picked the black pebble, she would become his wife, and her father's debt would be forgiven. If she picked the white pebble, she need not marry him, and her father's debt would be forgiven. But if she refused to pick a pebble, her father would be thrown into jail. They were standing on a pebble-strewn path in the farmer's field as they talked. The moneylender bent over to pick up 2 pebbles. As he picked them up, the sharp-eyed girl noticed that he had picked up 2 black pebbles and put them into the money bag. The moneylender then asked the girl to pick a pebble from the money bag. Now, imagine you were standing in the field. What would you do? If you were the girl, if you had to advise her or tell her what to do? Careful analysis would probably give you 3 possibilities. The girl should refuse to take a pebble. The girl should show that there were 2 black pebbles in the money bag and expose the moneylender as a cheat. The girl should pick a black pebble and sacrifice herself in order to save her father from debt and imprisonment. So, take a moment with the story and just see what you would do in that situation. And if you want to know what the girl did, she put her hand into the money bag and drew out a pebble, and without looking at it, she fumbled it and let it fall onto the pebble-strewn path, where it immediately became lost among all the other pebbles. "Oh, how clumsy of me," she said, "but never mind. If you look into the money bag, for the one that is left, you will be able to tell which one I picked. Since the remaining black pebble is black, it must be assumed that she had picked the white one. And since the moneylender dared not admit his dishonesty, the girl changed what seemed an impossible situation into an extremely advantageous one. So what's the moral of the story? Most complex problems, have a solution. It's only that we don't attempt to think. What we do tend to do is try to think of what other people are doing. We are mind reading what they're doing rather than thinking of the possibilities and that we can do as ourselves. Every solution has a problem. We just have to think sometimes outside of the box. So if you like my video on mind reading, like and share my page, visit me on Twitter, follow me on YouTube. I'm Mark Glenton from Mind Frontiers at markglentonnlp.com. Thank you very much, guys. Speak to you tomorrow.